It's 9 o'clock. Let's see. All right, we should be live. Hello and welcome to Detention Live from the RPG Academy. I am Michael. And with me today, I have two hooligans that are going to join me in Detention. To my left, I don't know, it's confusing on this thing, Matthew Parody. Matthew, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing today, sir?
I can't complain. No one cares.
Exactly. And moving on, Devon.
What's up?
How are you, sir?
I am doing really well.
Fantastic.
Today. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right now.
Well, you have ice cream. That's always a good thing, right?
I do.
In this simple moment, he is doing fantastic.
So hopefully there are people that can see us. It looks like we've got a couple people already joining chat. Apparently Twitch is down. At least we can't get to the site, so I have no idea if it's streaming to Twitch. It should still be streaming to YouTube as well as to Periscope. And fingers crossed, it's still going to go to Twitch as a video that can be, reviewed later. Anyways, that would be great. But we're going to carry on as if nothing was wrong because we're too stupid to worry about it.
That's right.
Absolutely. So these detention shows are a little bit more laid back, a little bit looser, somewhat attached to role-playing games. And the idea is that we are here in the hallowed halls of the RPG Academy after hours in detention with some hooligans and ne'er-do-wells. Academaniacs, if you will. And we're gonna.
It's a good thing it's after hours because as hot it is here, I might start taking off some clothes.
Pants are optional.
We might get. Let's get that tip bucket filled.
Detention is a pants optional, but you have to keep your shirt on. Twitch does have rules about that.
I haven't worn pants once on this show, and I'm not going to start today.
Yep. No comment. But New York Tater is here. Thank you for joining. Again, there's a couple other people. Chase Maine. I don't think I've heard that name before. And some other people that I don't know, but welcome. Hopefully you will enjoy what we're doing here. Again, the RPG Academy, we talk about role-playing games, and we're going to do a bunch of silly stuff and make fun of ourselves tonight. But we're going to start as we always do. Hey, Matt, what you drinking?
Well. I knew I was going to be on today, and I knew I'd be the only one drinking because reasons.
You have a problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Is this intervention? Where are the other people? Are they all going to pop on?
It's an interdetention.
I didn't realize that this was a wet podcast.
Well, it's not yet, but it's early.
Well, you have ice cream, so you're wet already. Oh, shush.
Woo!
So I am drinking a New Belgium Citradelic, a tangerine IPA, and it's splendid. Shut up. The dog likes it too.
Normally I'm drinking water. Today I'm actually a little bit off the wagon. I'm drinking an L81, which is, again, my soft drink of choice when I am gaming. It tastes kind of like a sweet ginger ale. It's made in one bottling plant in Winchester, Kentucky. It's a totally small little thing, but it tastes really good if you get it just to the edge of freezing. I actually left it in the freezer a little too long, so I've got some icebergs in there, but I'll manage. Devon.
Were I drinking, I would be drinking a coffee-flavored mezcal, but I was in a rush getting in here, so I forgot to serve it to myself. So I am having a wonderful mini Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream.
Wow.
Well, if you just leave it there for another 20 minutes, then you can drink
will be drinking it.
20 minutes.
Yep.
5.
So for anyone who doesn't know, because we covered this before we started, Devon is in Las Vegas. And he turned off his air conditioning because it was screwing with the audio. So he is suffering for his art. So when you start to see him glistening later, he's not nervous. Well, he might be nervous.
He might be nervous.
But there might be other reasons why he's glistening like a pig. All right. So let's start, as we always do after we cover what we're drinking, with extracurricular. And that's basically what we talk about, what we've been up to the last couple weeks or so. Can be gaming related, does not have to be. It can be movies, TVs, books, any sort of media, or just whatever you want to talk about. So, Matthew, I'll actually start with you. What have you been up to?
Geez, it's been a busy couple weeks for me. Just officially lost the office to my soon-to-be arrived daughter. So that's why I'm in the closet.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else did I do? I went to a bachelor party upstate. I have a wedding this weekend. And I'm doing a Twitch show on Sundays that is loosely based on the Defenders, called Heroes for Hire, from 2 to 6, and it's fun. It's pretty cool. I'm a were dinosaur, so
You're a were dinosaur?
yeah, a were raptor if you want to get real specific. But
All right.
That sounds amazing.
So what channel is this superhero show on?
it is twitch.tv/FOU Studios.
FOU Studios.
Yes, Face Off Unlimited Studios. So
Awesome.
That's good because my mind was going in a completely different direction there.
Yeah. I think an
Oh.
FUA. Yeah.
Whoa.
All right.
What kind of show is this? It's the kind of show where you glisten like a pig. Bang, bang, bang. Gotcha. And the ACs is on.
That's right. All right, Devon. So,
Oh my.
what have you been up to the last little bit here?
Oh, let's see. A few weeks ago, I went to Mexico for a week to visit the in-laws and played around with machine embroidery software. Strangely enough, it was new. It was different.
But you liked it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like creative stuff, and it was surprisingly like using Photoshop, just planning out stitches for the machine to do. It was, yeah. And then this last weekend, we went up to Red Rock Canyon and drove through there and saw all of the wondrous sights up there. And I picked up a Southwest slow cooker cookbook that I have been looking through and trying new recipes for the slow cooker, and it's been pretty fantastic so far.
All right. Very, very cool. I don't think the pup agrees. That
No, he's aggressively attacking right now. You guys entertain these folks. I'm gonna be right back, or else I'm gonna have to kill a dog.
Mute yourself, please. Awesome. All right. So as for myself, no surprise, Academicon. We are full swing. Been working on that pretty much nonstop. Even when I'm at work, I'm supposed to be working. I'm kind of working on Academicon right now. So, but we're making progress. We should have surveys out very soon. Hopefully by the end of this week, so that we can start getting all the information we need to get people's badges printed, get people signed up to run games, get people signed up so they can eventually schedule games when that's done. If you order the t-shirt, we got, get your sizes and all that kind of good stuff. So we are definitely making progress. It's all kind of behind the scenes, but fingers crossed, end of this week, certainly by the end of next week, we should start blasting all that out so people can start seeing that we're getting closer. And we're continuing to sell tickets. I've actually been very pleased. We've been selling 1 or 2 a day for like the last 4 or 5 days. So
that's really nice.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, congrats.
I want to do a quick audio check for anyone listening. I know we've had issues with the volume. I think we've got that worked out, but if my audio is going up and down, or if any of us are not leveled very well compared to each other, please let us know and we'll see if we can fix that. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to make it to Academicon this year, right?
No.
Maybe
sadly.
next year?
I don't know. Family flies to Mexico every year, so that's a big budgetary item, and I don't know when I'd be able to make it to Academicon, although it is on my list every year.
Now, don't you do AetherCon the same weekend?
I don't know.
Oh,
not anymore. I had to drop out of that because of life pressures and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my wife had emergency surgery earlier this year in the hospital, and since we don't have coverage, that was a major item to take care of.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. So, well, she's fine now, right? Other than Bill,
yes,
but she's fine.
Yeah, it was just a simple gallbladder thing. Simple. It was way overdue. A doctor looked at it and said, "How are you still upright with this as bad as it is?"
I know how that goes. I had the same thing with my brain tumor. But I'm glad that she's okay now, and hopefully the bills will get themselves worked out. Because again, what are they going to do? Take away your birthday? You don't pay them? I mean, seriously, what can they do?
Yeah, luckily we had some equity in our house, so we drew on that, and so no one's knocking on our door to come collect. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I wanted to share. This is a terrible segue away from your actual issues and problems, but I solved one of my actual issues and problems. I was finally able to get those D12 6-sided dice I've been looking for. Because I don't like rolling 2d6s. I don't know. There's nothing satisfying to me about throwing 2d6 down. So I don't like Powered by the Apocalypse games. And that's the only reason why. I don't like rolling 2d6. Now I don't have to because I got d12s. So I got a couple different colors so that I can mix it up. And then I also got a d4. That's a d12.
Oh, you got those?
Yeah, it goes to 4.
I thought I was the only one.
Oh no, I'm ready to go now. Let's play Powered by the Apocalypse. That's all I want to do now. I'm ready to go.
Apparently, the probability on those is better than on regular d6s.
Well, someone told me that they are not manufactured the same way, and they may not be as random. So I did my own scientific test, and I rolled it 7 times. And in those 7 rolls, I got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and 2 6s. So for me, that's good enough. Wasn't in that order because that would have been weird. But I mean, that's pretty good distribution, and it leans towards the 6. So hey, who's going to complain?
Yeah, exactly.
And this, children, is how we apply the scientific method.
Yep. I didn't watch
when it agrees with our methods.
Exactly. Was it confirmation bias? But I didn't watch Mythbusters all those years and not learned something about science.
That's right. If he wrote it down, he's not screwing around.
Absolutely.
Even if it's on his phone, I think it counts.
So it looks like the audio is sounding good. We got a couple new people jumping in. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sorry the Twitch thing isn't working, but we love having you here with us. We're going to move into our first of, actually, it's our second of. Oh no, I'm off base. We got to do 10 things.
I was about to say, did I miss 10 things?
No. We did extracurricular, but now it's time for everyone's favorite part.
No, I think we already did it.
No.
Don't you remember?
No, Devon, we didn't.
Yes, Mark. I don't like the way D6s roll because they're too clunky. They just land and flat. They don't tumble. So I don't like them. So D12, D6s. The only way to go. But let's move into 10 things. So Devon, I know you did some homework for Detention, so you know how this game is played. But I'll let you go first by offering Matthew 10 things.
Now the way this works, from my understanding, is that I say you need to name 10 things correct?
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay. Matthew, 10 things that you've pulled out of the treads of your shoes.
Oh.
Gum.
1.
A used condom.
2.
A knife.
3.
A very small man.
4.
A bottle cap.
5.
The top of a can.
6.
A pebble.
7.
A loose diamond.
8.
An action figure.
9.
Your mom.
10. Hey! That was 10 things. So
nailed it.
I don't believe you found all 10 of those things in the bottom of your shoe.
But you know what? You'd be surprised about how many of those things I actually have found in the bottom of my shoe. That's the sad part.
So when you're playing 10 things, immediacy is the goal. The accuracy of the answers aren't as important as how quickly you get there. Mm-hmm. And as a case and counterpoint to how well Matthew did, Matthew, give me 10 things.
Michael, 10 things you love about the fact that you don't have to put up and tear down your setup every time you podcast.
That I don't have to put up and tear down my setup every time I podcast.
1.
My settings don't have to be changed.
2.
My chair fits my butt perfectly.
3.
It gives me time to do other things that are less important.
4.
Gives me more time to edit, which is something I have to do now.
5.
It keeps the kids out of here because they don't want to break anything.
6.
Oh. It gives me time to play around with my microphone cozies and color coordinate them.
7. There it is.
Absolutely. Actually, if you can see, I have color coordinated around the room. I don't have dogs barking.
8. Fair.
Oh, son of a gun. It just makes me feel more like a person.
9. Oh, there it is. There's another dig. Okay, eat shit.
Oh, yeah. And because why not?
10.
Again, good example of a bad example. All right, Devon, you are up, sir. Give me 10 things. Give me 10 drinks you would drink if you had time to have gotten them before we started.
Okay. Coffee flavored mezcal.
1.
Tequila straight.
2.
Mexicola.
3.
Water.
4.
Rum.
5.
5.
Coke.
6.
Coke Zero.
7.
Diet Coke.
8.
8. Oh, there we go. We're back.
And for my last 2, I will now pull them out of this hat.
Oh my God! If you had a hat with shit in it, I would have pissed my pants. I would have turned this off and left. He really is in Vegas. Everyone's a magician in Vegas.
Hulk Fist soda
9.
and milk.
10.
10.
Yay.
10 things.
That was 10 things.
I like how for a guy who claims to have not to drink, the first 3 things were awesome drinks.
When do I claim not to drink?
I thought you didn't drink.
Maybe a couple years ago.
Okay. I was about to say, I remember this very, very vividly.
All right, so now we will move into used books. The idea with a used book is we're going to take a look back at a campaign that one of us has played, maybe ran, that failed, possibly spectacularly. And like any good used books, we're going to look in the margins for some notes about maybe what we could do differently or better next time, and essentially what kind of lessons we can learn from it. So, Devon, you are the guest here tonight. Do you have a campaign that you would like to talk about?
Woo! Yes.
Woo!
Recently, at the beginning of this year, I think it was at the beginning of this year, recently-ish, I ran a Savage Worlds Interface Zero 2.0 game. And everyone was really excited about it. I was really excited about it. Cyberpunk, woo, yay. Cyberpunk is amazing. And we sat down and we made characters and we started playing. And one of the players consistently dominated everything. And everyone else let her because she was new to the group. But then she would consistently dominate. And then me having to cater to that character and her having to come up with everything at the same time, we both kind of burned out at the same time. And the game just died because I was like, I'm tired. I want to take a break from something. I don't want to run this anymore. And she was like, yeah, I'm kind of burned out on gaming. I'm going to go do something else for a while. I was like, okay. And it was dead right there.
Nice.
I have never heard that happen. That's an amazing story.
All right. So again, we want to look back, lessons learned. What do you think you could have done to have prevented that from happening at all, if anything?
Probably I should have encouraged the other players they have been part of my home gaming group for years and years and years. I probably should have concentrated on their characters as the GM and said, okay, we've seen this character's spotlight. Now let's give spotlight to you guys and see what you do. But since they were happy to let the new player have the spotlight, I was happy to let the new player have the spotlight.
Okay. So what do you think? So I know you mentioned the issue is that they dominated. You had to constantly come up with things. They had to constantly come up with things. But looking back on it, if it's, let's say you had the same players, you had the same problem, how do you think you could have fixed it before it got to the point that you were burnt out?
Well, I think at the very beginning of the game, I probably would have picked a different rule set.
Okay.
Because Savage Worlds, as fun as it is, it's not something that I engage with a lot or that's very fun mechanically for me. So if I had a rule set that were more fun mechanically for me, then I probably would have had more stimulation at the game table and enjoyed running the game more than I did. But farther in, things I could have done during game sessions to avoid that, I probably should have said no to the player a little bit more.
Okay, so
and I know I just gave Matthew a heart attack.
So there's a couple things I want to pull out there. So first of all, if Savage Worlds isn't a engaging mechanical system for you, why did you start with that?
Because our gaming group has grown to the point that we've split into 2 groups, and we decided we wanted to do a joint story between the 2 groups. So they were running Savage Worlds Cyberpunk, and I was running Savage Worlds Cyberpunk. And so we were going to have players moving back and forth between the 2 groups. We were going to combine sessions occasionally for big, epic conclusions to storylines and stuff like that. As much as I've read Savage Worlds in the past, I haven't really played it much. It's not been a game that we've played much in my game group. So I didn't know that I wouldn't like it as much as I didn't.
Okay, so I think that's an interesting situation because it was somewhat forces beyond your control that dictated which system you would use. You know, normally you could have decided that yourself, or session zeroed it. Everyone take a drink because I mentioned session zero. But in this case, you didn't really have that opportunity. So, I mean, I'm trying, because it's going to be an easy answer of no, but is there something you could have done that would have helped you engage with that system? Was it just not working for you, or were there things that you didn't know to do or didn't know how to do that could have made it better maybe?
I think I was in the role of the co-GM. The other GM was the one who spearheaded all this. So maybe if I had sat down and taken a little bit more ownership over the way things were running and the direction things were headed, then I could have probably made myself be more engaged with it. Even though I wasn't really enjoying the Savage Worlds mechanics, then at least I would have had ownership of the story, and I could have been like, yeah, this is this wonderful thing that we're all creating together. But as the co-GM, the other GM was saying, okay, this week we're doing this, and this is your party's half, and this is my party's half.
I can see what you mean now, that you were almost in the sidecar and you weren't driving, but you had someone who was driving yours, your car, and you were like, wait, that's mine.
I wanted to stop at the giant ball of yarn, and we just
and you just kept driving.
I've had to pee for like 3 hours.
That makes a lot more sense when you said you were technically the co-GM.
Yeah.
Like now I understand why the burnout was.
So let me jump to you on that, Matthew. Have you ever played in a game where you were not able? I'll say, have you ever ran a game where you were not able for some reason to choose the system?
Besides games where I signed up and I couldn't choose the system. I mean, I've never jumped into a game where I didn't want to play the system I was playing. You know what I mean? Except for during the game when I learned, like, oh, fuck this system. I hate this system.
Awesome. So I want to call out a couple things in the chat. So Michael is saying that the idea of flowing characters between two games sounds like a neat idea. I agree. I think with all things, execution matters. And it's going to be difficult to do well. But I don't know if it's Decadani or Decidani. Sadly, Matthew can't see the chat. I'm the only one that can. So he is not getting any of the subtle hints that you are dropping or any of the questions that you may be asking. Someone who came in late did want to know what you were drinking, Matt, if you would recap that for him.
Oh, I am drinking a New Belgium Citradelic Tangerine IPA, and now it is gone.
Drink.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have drink words now?
What?
Do we have drink words now? You did session 0, drink.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Every time we mention session 0, you take a drink. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna.
And because I'm here, every time Stargate is mentioned, you got to take a drink.
Of course, that's the rule.
In fact, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. So let's keep. I'm gonna set you up a softball here. Let's say that you were gonna do this again, but you were able to take control and be the main GM. What game type would you run and what system would you use if you had the two different groups that were going to interact?
Well, I would, first of all, mechanics-wise, I would pick a game that we were all familiar with, much as if we were at a Stargate convention. I would frame all my anecdotes in Stargate rather than Star Wars or Star Trek. So something like World of Darkness, because we play World of Darkness games a lot. And I think that's the common denominator for all of us. But we would have picked something like that, and I forgot the last half of your question.
So if you were going to dictate the game system and sort of the overall type of game, like Stargate, what would you have chosen?
I definitely would have chosen a game of exploration, traveling to different worlds through some kind of stellar portal. And
some sort of wormhole?
Yeah, something like that.
Some sort of like terrestrial gate from one world to another.
A terrestrial door?
I think I might call the game Wormhole Extreme or something like that.
I like this. Ooh, and then they could be Wormhole Extreme 1. Like that could be the name of like the team.
Yes. Yes. And they'd have to have catchphrases like, as a matter of fact, it does say Colonel on my uniform.
And things like indeed.
And Matthew, your call sign or your phrase could be Jergen, like the lotion company. Because apparently that means something to someone in chat.
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. So we'll jump ship here a little bit because I think you have a pretty interesting situation. Let's talk a little bit about Stargate. Okay, I know you're somewhat familiar with the show.
Oh God! And Christopher's ears are on fire right now. He's like,
"Oh, you mean Chris?" Now they're really on fire.
Ouch.
So what is it about Stargate that you think would translate well into an RPG? And actually, is there a Stargate RPG?
There is.
Okay.
There was one published many years ago. I think it was based on Spycraft. So it's D20, kind of a 3.0 shift fade thing, because Spycraft took 3.0 SRD and then made their own thing with it, and then Stargate came, put their thing on top of it. So it's a really complicated game, as 3.0 D&D rules were. I'm sure you're familiar with them.
I still have nightmares.
But the book has got a lot of lore in it and stuff like that. But as far as what it has that's good for RPGs is that you have you've already got your group, your party made in, because that's what Stargate teams are.
Sure.
You've got your 4 to however many people on the team, and they go out and they have a mission. You've got the exploration ones, you've got the science teams, you've got the military teams, and you've got diplomatic teams. There's all sorts of stuff that you could go do. So you've got tons of different mission types. And then you do have niche protection as well, because you got the team leader, you've got the sniper, you've got the archaeologist, and then you've got the warrior, the soldier. So, I mean, there's tons of crossover.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Hot. If I survive. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So if you were going to run a Stargate game, would you use that system or would you use your own?
No, I use my own. Yeah.
Cortex plus drama system, perhaps?
If I were going to play a very relationship drama heavy Stargate game, of course I would.
Ooh, you just play it as like the plebes that just work at base. And every episode starts and ends with the Stargate being opened and closed, but they're not going through it.
Anytime someone says plebes, I just think of help, I'm being repressed.
I can see it's like the janitorial crew. They're cleaning it and it's turned on, and like one guy falls through, and it's just like,
no, we have to go. Ralphie's in there.
There actually is an episode that's kind of like that called The Other Guys, and it follows a science team of like C-listers. So they're the science team that gets placed on an alien thing, and like everyone forgets about them, but they're the ones who save the day through a bunch of happenstance and errors, and it's pretty funny.
Nice. All right. I'm actually going to be playing Cortex soon. I played a hybrid version of it at Gen Con 2 or 3 years ago. It's like half Fate, half Cortex Plus. And so I didn't get a really good feel of the system, but we're going to get the chance to play Firefly, which is built on the Cortex system.
Firefly is a good game.
With one of the designers, PK Sullivan, who will be at Catacon, is going to run that for us. We have we kind of have a Charlie's Angel situation. We got Mal, Zoe, Inara, and Kaylee are the characters that we're playing.
Oh, nice.
Cool. So I thought we'd have a Jane, but it just didn't work out. So, but still, I'm pretty excited. I'm Kaylee, by the way.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Well, you can do the accent. It's fine.
Exactly. I'll just talk like myself with just a higher. Basically, it's Army.
Just make sure you get a big floofy dress for the game.
Yeah,
exactly.
You need a big floofy dress.
Absolutely. All right. So, Matt, let's. If you were going to make your own game, whether you're creating it or running it, what intellectual property would you want to use? What's your Stargate?
Oh man, I have so many I want to do. This is crazy. I got lists on my phone of just IPs that I want to do stories in. I want.
Okay, so 10 IPs that you want to
do
play in.
stories in.
Star Wars. Oh, this is a joke. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I feel like my number one is like a Band of Brothers type 40K game.
I'd play the hell out of that.
Yeah. And
That sounds great.
I have a bunch of like regiments that I want to try out because I've read a bunch of the fiction I played and all this stuff, so I know all the shit. But I have all these ideas that haven't been like stories that I want to try, like a cavalry unit or like a specialist like close combat unit. And I think it'd be cool if you could tell different stories in the same unit, just like all over the company, you know. So
all right, very cool. I think I would go with Thundercats.
perfect.
Oh,
Well, we could do that for the next Halloween special.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to do Tales from the Loop. I think that's going to be our.
Oh, that's the Halloween. Cool.
That's going to be Halloween this year. But yes, I would like. We have a kind of a Saturday morning cartoon thing going. I keep knocking the slide over, and I think Thundercats is definitely one that's on my short list that I would like to do again. I would like to do a Flintstones version where the dinosaurs go crazy and try to eat everybody. It's like a Jurassic Park Flintstones. I think that would be awesome.
Or we could do a dinosaurs Flintstones mashup where the dinosaurs talk and the Flintstones are like, WTF.
Not the mama.
Put your collar back on, you beast.
I definitely would like to try He-Man. I mean,
Yes.
there's just so much there to mine for horror.
I'd like to play He-Man on a whim. This summer, I started watching He-Man on Netflix because I saw it was there, and I was like, I don't remember anything, but I know I loved He-Man as a kid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
So I started watching it. Like the first 3 episodes, I'm like, yeah, this is great stuff, and then it's just total camp and horribleness. But I can't stop watching it.
yeah. So He-Man actually has taught me something about myself. I really enjoy stories where someone has a secret and no one is supposed to know the secret. And at some point in time, you learn that someone's always kind of known the secret, but didn't say anything. I don't know why, but that's a very niche kind of thing, but I really enjoy that. And there's a particular episode of He-Man where Skeletor attacks, the kingdom of Eternia or whatever, and everybody gets frozen. They can't move. And He-Man's mom, I can't remember actually her name, she has the ability to free one person, and she chooses Prince Adam. And, Prince Adam becomes He-Man, blah, 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 saves the day. And at the end of the episode, Prince Adam is like, why did you pick me? Like, you could have got Man of Arms, you could have done Tila. Why did you pick me? And she's like, mother always knows what her son is capable of. And it's like, holy shit, she knows. She has to know that he's He-Man, but it's just like this. It's a subtle thing, but I was like, that's crazy. And the other one that got me was the Lost Boys. I don't know. Do you ever remember that? The vampire, like 80s
the movie?
Yeah, 80s glam rock vampires in the 80s with Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, yeah.
So you go through the entire movie, and at the very end, the old fart grandpa's in the, kitchen getting a glass of milk. He's like, that's what I hate about this place. All the goddamn vampires. It's like, this whole time everyone thinks they're secret and this old dude just knows about them. I don't know why, but it just gets me in a spot where I'm like, oh, this is so cool. It almost makes it feel like the world is bigger than it really is. So I don't know what that is, but for some reason I really enjoy that.
Well, I think getting that feel that the horizon extends out farther than you thought it did is always kind of cool, because that opens up so much more real estate for you to play around in, even if it's just your imagination at the end of a movie saying, oh, well, if this guy knows, then these people must have, and that makes total sense why they did this thing in that one scene.
Someone said that Grandpa was Art Carney. Wasn't he Wilford Brimley? I thought it was the diabetes guy. I don't know. Somebody IMDb that for us. God, man. Ooh, numbers and letters are fun. So Matt took off, so we need to wait a little bit for him to get back before we can do our next little game. So we'll throw it out to chat. Is there any questions that you would like for Devon or myself to cover while we're waiting for Matt. And I think Twitch may be back up or might be going in and out because I just got a notification, but now it's gone. So whatever. Gone. So it was apparently Bernard Hughes. So it wasn't Diabetes Guy, but it also wasn't Art Carney. All right. So what about you, Devon? Do you have any just chit-chat you want to chit-chat while we're waiting on Matt?
Chit-chat about Matt. I don't know. That might be dangerous.
Well, someone asked, when will Ken and Robin not win the Emmy? Easy answer, whenever they're not nominated. So
when they stop podcasting, or probably a year or two after they stop podcasting.
they'll win,
to be honest,
the in memoriam, even when it's just a podcast is over. But no, I think if they're nominated, they're going to win.
Yeah,
and I say that with a hint of bitterness, but their audience of their podcast really isn't that huge. But both of them have such a strong media presence or social media presence because of all their other accomplishments. They just have a huge fan base that they can draw on. So I really think as long as they're nominated, they're probably going to win it.
Yeah.
Ken and Robin.
Yeah, I think so.
Context clues. Boom.
Yep. So they want to know, Matt, do you know who it was who made the Jergens comment?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course I know who it was. That is my wife's cousin, just so everyone's aware of what's going on.
All right.
That makes it even better.
Now that we're back, we can play everyone's favorite game. Oh, we got a question. Have you ever ran or played Savage Worlds in a genre other than fantasy or sci-fi? Yes, I played Deadlands, which is still, I love playing Deadlands. I think it's awesome.
Technically, it's fantasy western.
Well,
I mean, you could probably connect anything to fantasy or sci-fi.
True. I mean,
I was just being a turd.
Yes. So I played Savage Deadlands a couple times. I ran it a couple times. I really enjoyed it both times. I did the Kickstarter. I'm pointing, though you can't see it. Right off here, there's a bookshelf, and I got the 20th edition.
I've seen it.
Of the original Deadlands, so it's not the Savage Worlds system that I hope to try out at some point in time.
I've seen the bookshelf.
So what about you, Matthew? Have you ever played or ran Savage Worlds that wasn't fantasy or sci-fi?
I have played that Savage Worlds games with you, which I believe I would call steampunk fantasy. Steampunk, I guess.
The one we did
that was steampunk, right?
Yeah, ended in the middle and has never been heard or seen.
Yeah. So if steampunk doesn't count as fantasy, then yes. But if it does count as fantasy, then no. And I'm pretty sure that's the only time I played Savage Worlds.
All right. What about you, Devon?
Yeah. Time back, I ran a couple of one-shots of Vampire Earth, which is a kind of a postmodern horror line of books. It's sci-fi adjacent because aliens from far away come and they inhabit Earth and take it over. And it basically turns the Earth into a World War II battlefield, just with the aliens being Nazis, and the aliens are vampires, essentially.
Huh. I saw the Savage World setting, which
there.
Yeah, I saw the Savage World settings that was based in World War II, but it was called Ragnarok, and basically Ragnarok happened during or caused World War II. So it was like you saw like Nazis like hiding behind the Jormungandr as like a barrier, and they were like shooting like Allied troops coming over. And I was like, what is this worlds?
I saw this is years and years ago. I think it was called Weird Wars, which I think might have been based off of Deadlands. And what I saw was a werewolf in a Nazi uniform flying a plane, and like that's the image that sticks in my mind, that apparently the Nazis were werewolves and vampires.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Well, I don't know if
I played that game.
2021 fans, but Chopper Dave, by day he's a helicopter pilot, but by night he fights crime as a werewolf.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
nice.
And I'm a fan of werewolves and everything. So
well, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you be? So now we will move into everyone's favorite part of the show. Where have my fingers been? So, Devon, I will let you start by asking Matt once again, so you'll get a chance to see both of us do better or worse than one another. Again, we do the song, and then you're going to give Matt a scene of some sort, and that's where his fingers will have been, and he will act out that scene. So,
where have my fingers been? I said, where have my fingers been?
All right, Devon, where has his fingers been?
All right, so any scene I want?
Yeah.
Anything.
Great. You tell me about that time where you got stuck in a World War II tank in the plains of Africa.
I said load the cannon. Oh, but Charlie, we only got... No, I said load it. We only have 2 shells left in the magazine. Corporal, load that damn cannon. But Corporal, the Zulus are coming. I don't care about the Zulus. We are defending these damn planes from the Nazis. But the Zulus got them Jaguar warriors. Don't talk about the Jaguar warriors. Don't. We're worried about one thing and one thing only. It's the Nazis. That's what I was going to say. Corporal, take that back. I take it back. It's the Nazis. Oh, my God, I knew it. And that's where my fingers been.
Okay, so our fingers talk to each other. I get it now.
Yeah. So and if you want to pull a Scott, you can even bring in a third character because he loves to do that shit. Okay, Matthew. Where have my fingers been? I said, where have my fingers been?
In your perfect Deadlands game.
We have been in this tavern for 6 nights. There's been a full moon every night. Nothing has happened. I know. It's the slow build that gets you. Hey, did you hear that? I don't know. It sounded like something on the roof. Should we go up there? No, you fucking idiot. That's where the ninjas are. And that's where my fingers have been.
I see what you did there.
That basically encapsulated my philosophy of GMing. Slow build, roof ninjas.
Oh my God. Actually, speaking of ninjas, I'm sorry to interrupt this game, but that was actually a tip in the game that I play on Sundays with the Heroes for Hire Defenders thing. If someone tips us $10, ninjas just attack. and in my head I'm going, someone's talking to Michael.
Yes. For anyone who's not in the know, go back and listen to our Secret Slides in the Undead 13th Age actual play that I ran, which I still think is one of the best games we've ever played, even though it had roof ninjas.
I killed a dragon with a dagger.
You killed Zorf.
I Zorf.
Which is my best voice I've ever done. That game is so full of good things. But we're going to go to Devon. Devon?
I thought we were skipping me.
Oh, no.
All right. I'll sing the song.
Yes. Good.
Where have my fingers been? I said, where have my fingers been? Everybody to the limit. My fingers to the limit. Come on, tell me where my fingers have been.
Oh, Strong Bad's back.
Your fingers are roof ninjas waiting for hapless adventurers to come up and find them.
Is it time yet? Shh. Seriously, they're walking by. Shh. Come on, man. We got to get this done. Shh. Okay, now. Shh. And that's where my fingers have been.
Yay! Fabulous first effort. Thank you so much. Oh, that was good.
That was good. That was really good.
A's all the way around. That was great, everybody.
I would like to apologize to the Zulu tribe. I know they weren't Jaguar warriors. They were leopard warriors, and I'm an idiot, and I apologize.
That's what people come here for, the accuracy and the apologies.
The two A's. The two A's of the RPG Academy.
That's right.
The accuracy, yes, the apologies. We're sorry.
That's why there's 2 A's in Academy. All right.
I just want to write that out now. R, ridiculous. P, people. G, gaming. A, authenticity. C, CADs. A, apologies.
Oh, yeah, you need to do the whole thing. We'll figure something out.
I'm gonna.
Okay, so we will move into the last section of the show, unless we have questions at the end, and that is cryptozoology, and this is where we take a look at a monster, probably from D&D, and we talk about ways we have used them in the past, and maybe talk about ways that we could use them in the future. Devon is our guest tonight, and he chose the Varguille. Though that's not how it sounds like it would spell, but according to Wikipedia, that's how you pronounce it. It is not in 5th edition. At least if it is, I cannot find it. But I did find it on Wikipedia.
Sacre bleu.
So it is described as...
It's a German vampire, right?
It's a human head attached to small, limbless, tentacled central body with bat wings that grow out from behind its ears.
Oh, yeah.
And
So-
they're usually red in color.
I pulled this from 3.5 D&D because it is in the
And-
3.5
Yep.
monster manual.
All right. So have you used a Varguille before?
Once, long time ago in the before times. Yes, when I was still running D&D ages and ages ago, I did use a Varguille, and it was a lot of fun. I had it come upon the party as they were sleeping, and it performed its kiss on one of their NPCs in the party, and so they woke up to their NPC dying a horrible death, and then fighting 2 of these floating redheads.
All right. I am trying. Yep, there it is. I have added it to the chat. I'll blow it up just for a second so everybody can see what it looks like, and then I will make it small again so that we can keep talking. So that is what a Varguille looks like for anyone who's watching. So what is it about the Varguille that was like, oh, I want to use this monster? Like, what is it about it that you thought was interesting?
Well, I am already a huge fan of vampires. I don't think anyone who knows me or has listened to my show...
Sparkly kind or no?
Yes.
I'm okay with sparkly kind as well.
Okay.
They have unique types of stories. I like vampires. Vampires are cool. And I came across these guys and I said, ooh, they're vampire heads. And that's like all they do. And it's kind of weird and off the wall. And I hadn't heard about it in any kind of fantasy before. So I was like, I'm going to use this because it seems unique and different and not something that they will expect.
So to answer Mark's question, I pulled that off the internet. It's from like a Wikipedia entry, so I don't know, but I'm guessing that's the 1st edition image. But the thing that comes to mind for me with the Varguille, looking at it, is this has the chance of just coming across as silly. I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of a ridiculous looking monster, and if you don't set the atmosphere correctly, or maybe you don't have the players in the right frame of mind, I don't think it's going to come across as scary. It's going to come across as a flying head. But they can be terrifying. They have some pretty crazy stuff that they can do. They're pretty deadly. So I would just want to be very cautious with how I would present them.
Yeah. This was back at the beginning of my gaming career, probably back in 2008. So I had been gaming for less than a year, I would say. So I wasn't very good as a DM.
Well, no, and again, and I don't mean that as a criticism at all. I mean, it is what it is. But that's just the first thing that struck me is I would want to use this in a way that it comes across as terrifying and not just awkward.
Yeah,
and weird.
it totally needs some setup. It needs some tension build up before it's ever encountered. There need to be rumors. There need to be evidence, headless victims, that kind of stuff. I totally used it as a wandering monster or a nighttime ambush. So if I remember correctly, people were like, what? Seriously? A flying head? What?
Yeah, if again, looking at the picture, the wings are pretty substantially sized compared to the rest of it. But if those were, we'll say flexible, or maybe they could be folded, I could totally see a scene where like they come across a bunch of bodies, and they're like, "What's going on?" And they start, they do that sort of thing where it's like, "Wait, we have 8 bodies and 10 heads," and then blah, that sort of like a reveal could be pretty creepy, I think.
Yeah, that would be cool. That's actually a great way to use them. I thought that the Varguille was the Varguille, which is another vampire term. But then I saw this and I was like, oh, that flying head thing. Yeah, I've seen those. I've never used one, but I've seen them. I know in Japanese mythology, there's a flying head vampire type creature. I know that Hellboy fought them. They were like just 5 heads that were just running around trying to bite him, and he was beating them up.
As Hellboy does.
As you do, yeah.
Yeah, as he does. And yeah, so I've never used them, but that was actually a pretty good idea with the bodies and the heads.
All right. Well, can you think of any other ways that we could use them? So thinking forward into the future, you want to use a Varguille in your next game. How are you going to do it?
I think I would use it as a as like a guard dog for a bigger bad, maybe even a vampire. Have them like sitting in 2 suits of armor at like the top of the the threshold. So it's like, oh, look at these suits of armor. Oh, those are nice. And they lift up the thing, and the Varguille's like, ah! And it's like, oh shit!
Because there is a rule: if you see a suit of armor, you have to look inside.
Right, because you want to know if it's that good shit or if it's tin. Because if it's tin, you don't want it. But if it's the good shit, you're like, well, is this my size? Let's take some dimensions. Who do we have to save again? Is it a time thing? Because I want to doff this.
I also could think, you mentioned like it being sort of the watchdog. It could certainly be go with me here, a mouthpiece for the big bad. I don't know if they can talk. Let's assume they can. So this flying head shows up and starts talking to them. Like, hey, we're going to kill you if you don't like do the thing or not do the thing.
According to the SRD, they speak Infernal.
Oh.
So they do speak.
Okay, well, they speak something.
Yeah.
Cool
I would.
when something shows up and doesn't speak your language and is threatening you. You're like, is this happy?
Is he gibbering or are those words?
Yeah. Blink once for you're happy and blink twice for I should be scared.
Nonverbal communication depends on the body. It doesn't have one. I don't know if it's open or closed or shrugging the shoulders. And
I can't even go off like the brow because it furrows every time he flaps.
Nice.
I would want to put them in a far future and have them be an actual race of aliens. And then in order to manipulate their environments, they have a series of mechanical bodies that they can plug into and move around.
Nice.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the kind of stuff you can expect from the SharkBone podcast. So fuck us, right?
So
Michael and I like, they'd be good guard dogs.
I want to use the tentacles in some way, and this is a complete stretch, but in my head I see a scene where the adventurers come to like a tavern or some small quaint village, and they have like a communal pot of food that everyone is eating, and it's like noodles, and everyone's just sort of eating out of it. And then you get the one, you're like, what's this? And then the head slowly comes to the surface. So then everyone freaks out and thinks you're dealing with cannibals, and they start to turn on the villagers, but then it comes out and attacks the adventurers. Yeah.
Dude, don't fuck with my noodles.
It could also hang upside down from a tree and become a piñata trap.
There's an African vampire that does that exact thing. It has hooks for feet, and it hangs, and then it drops on its victims like the drop bear.
That's awesome.
You could lean into the absurdness and just wait for one time when it happens naturally in the game, where one of the players just like throws something for whatever reason, and then it brings it back in its mouth like a puppy. And then it throws it, and it fetches whatever they throw, and it just hangs around them like a dog.
What if its tentacles are actually nerve fibers, and so it can burrow into a host body and take control of that body for whatever?
Oh, as long as it's headless.
Well, no,
maybe not even if it's
yeah,
headless.
It could like envelop the head.
Oh, so just ooh.
Or it's another head like on the back of the neck, so it's like got a hunchback wearing a cloak.
Yeah, I do like the idea of it being able to like kind of like dig those nerves down into a body and taking it over. Because then you could get away. It doesn't have to be a human body. It could be any body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you could have like a dead, desiccated horse with that head on it.
Yeah.
Someone, Ian says they could be in a wig store, and, and nice.
And then it would be the scene from Young Frankenstein. I've got nobody. I've got nobody.
I love that movie.
Where did you get this brain from? Abby someone.
Yeah.
Abby what? Abby normal. You idiot.
Said
again? Yeah.
And now we're just going to quote Young Frankenstein.
Isn't the hump on the
other side?
What hump?
So Mark says, what if a Medusa head was actually a Varguille?
I mean, I think in one of the pictures online, that's one of the options. Like there was one that looked like just a Medusa head flying around.
That would be really cool.
Well, it could be a thing like Clash of the Titans. You fight the Medusa, you cut its head off. You think, hey, we've won, but then the head's still alive.
Wrong, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh no! It's like that roller coaster of emotion.
Honestly, I think it's cooler if it doesn't have wings, but it flies.
Oh.
I think the wings is what really weirds it out for me. Yeah, it's like.
In my mind, they don't actually flap the wings; they just kind of flutter there as it just floats.
So yours is even crazier than mine, just lifting off by the power of magic. You're like, eh. But if I put this one down, I go, eh.
Bank.
Eh. We got a bogey.
You clip it with an arrow and it starts spinning and
oh my god, do they usually explode? No, this is my first Varguille.
It bounces when it hits the ground and you just hear
fuck my nose.
So Michael is saying that maybe that's what in the Castlevania games, the flying Medusa heads, maybe that's what they actually were these things. And we just thought they were Medusa because we had no other frame of reference.
Definitely. I would say that's definitely what those were.
So the Varguille shows back up. It's got like broken nose. It's got like a butterfly bandage over its head.
I'm back!
I want to know who put the Band-Aid on.
Yes.
That's easy enough.
It like just rolls its head along the counter to pick it up.
Oh no, and then it's like that really bad thing from Spawn that's like propping itself up with its tongue at the end.
Well, they have the crawling hands, so maybe they work together. You have the flying head and the crawling hands, they just hang out together.
Could be. Or there's always that town like healer who just heals things no matter what.
Right.
Don't. This is just a homicidal hobgoblin, but he had a splinter and I had to help him. Did you hear what you just said?
Or maybe just got really bad eyesight. It doesn't know what it is.
Yeah. Ooh, this little guy? That's a head.
Oh, son, you're very skinny. You need to eat more.
You're short.
And then I could have sworn he rolled away.
That's like that joke. Kid's 21 years old, but he's only been ahead for his whole life. So his dad takes him out to the bar for drinks. And they both sit at the bar and they order a shot. They both do the shot. The kid grows a body and he goes, oh my God, I grew a body. And it's like, yeah, let's get another shot. They get another shot. Kid takes another shot and dies. And the bartender goes, should have stopped while he was ahead.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Varguille humor. Now I know what to call it.
Is that going to be part of your show that you're doing at Academaniacs, your live D&D improv show?
Oh, is this official? Can I announce it?
I think we just did.
I'm hosting a live D&D. It's just a live improv show. We'll see if there's D&D. Although if there's not, we're all doing something wrong.
Yeah. RPG themed in some way.
Yeah, I expect to hear a lot less dildo suggestions and a lot more sort of truth suggestions. You know what I'm doing, guys?
Dildy 20.
Give me an object. You're a mace +4 versus vampires.
Perfect. Thank you. Best suggestion all night.
And we need a situation. You're dead and you're in front of Bahamut. He's judging your soul.
I've been there many times myself. And begin.
Well, no, we need a profession. Firefighter. Because you need a profession and object in the scene. There you go.
Players, are you ready? All right, begin.
Beat that fire into submission.
But in all seriousness,
is it vamp fire?
Yes.
Of course.
The
Yes.
Varguille, it's the Varguille's fire farts. Which come out of the neck hole, which you may or may not have.
That just got weird.
They just sound like screams.
But yeah, but Matt will be running an improv show. That's going to be one of our entertainment events this year. I'm really excited about that. I think that will be a good time.
I got to get some people on. I think you need to tell me who's coming so I can start collecting performers.
Well, we haven't quite got there yet.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah.
let me know. Because
Yeah.
I know there's some people who can do improv, and I'd like to start with those people first.
Well, I know Scott's coming. He's the only one I
Yes.
know for sure,
Yeah.
other than our special guest people. So, but anyways, we will talk more about that as we get further into our catacomb planning. So, we'll throw it out to the audience one more time. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to throw our way? RPG related or otherwise, we will try our best to tackle them. If not, we will wrap things up here. So we'll wait a moment for chat to catch up. Matt, while we're waiting, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh, geez, you can find me on the internet at Matt Perotti at any place, Instagram, Twitter. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You got a great job in New York, looking for some people to help you. I could be that person. I also perform with Friday Night Face Off. It's an improv show that performs most Fridays, 10:30 in Port Jefferson, New York. Check us out, $15. We have a bar.
You also play Cassandra Ziegengeist.
I also play Cassandra Ziegengeist on Wrought Iron, the continuing the RPG Academy actual play.
Very, very cool. And Devon, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Best place is on Twitter. I'm at shark_bone. My website is sharkbonepodcast.com. I'm not actually doing any podcast episodes right now. I am done with making regular podcast content, but I'm searching for something to do with myself, some kind of content creation that isn't podcasts, and I think I'm settling on doing world building. So I am typing up setting ideas and posting them on the website, and I do some solo RPG plays that also get their write-ups on that site as well. So if that's of interest to you, head on over to sharkbonepodcast.com.
If you want to be an event organizer, I know someone that could use some help.
But we'll have to talk.
So there's some conversation in chat about chat. From our standpoint, there is no difference whether you watch us on YouTube or Twitch. The way our system is set up, it will automatically stream to both every time. So it's really whatever you prefer. Someone mentioned that chat seems to be more stable and a little faster on YouTube. That's fine by us. I have no absolutely problem. Sounds like the video seems to have been very good. So absolutely, you can come here as well. Ideally, we'll get people coming on both sides and grow our audience bigger and bigger. But once again, I've really enjoyed the chat. A lot of people have been talking back and forth. It really adds a lot to the show. So thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Nicholas wants to ask Devon, are there any more Spider-Bite episodes, or is that done?
Spider-Bite is done.
So no
the last one came out last week, I think it was, or the week before.
So we will never hear a sing-songing pecker again?
I am thinking about doing the occasional AP and posting it on there, because APs are a lot of fun, but they're a lot of work.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know you know how much work they are, but the listeners probably don't have the same frame of reference.
I know too. That's why I don't do them.
But they would be very fun occasional projects. So if I ever get the urge to podcast, I will get a group together, we'll play a game, record it, and then I will edit it and release it whenever it gets done.
Very, very cool.
Sounds
and
good.
you are joining us for a trial, right? Which one are you signed up for?
I'm signed up for Star Trek.
Star Trek, yes. That's the one that we haven't actually scheduled yet, but we've got the players put together. But we are currently, we have a trial of Firefly scheduled. We have a trial of Masks scheduled. We have a trial of Tales from the Loop scheduled. And we have the Star Trek one that's floating around at some point. And we actually have a Warhammer 40K that Shane from Total Party Thrill has agreed to run for us whenever we get around to doing that.
Ooh.
I was going to say, I heard about that like a year ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Rah."
Yeah, that would be my fault, not his, but
Okay.
again, just a lot going on. So as for myself, if anyone doesn't already know, you can find me at the RPG Academy. Any social media platform that you search for that and you find it, it's probably me. I can be found most often on Twitter. That's just usually where I spend most of my time. So that would be a good place to hit me up there. Monday nights on the Twitch and YouTube, we have the Lawful and Orderly. So if you've been checking out Detention and you have not yet checked out Lawful and Orderly, please do that. You can go back and watch the old episodes on our YouTube page as well. Scott and Andrew Young head that up, and they do a wonderful job. It's a very improv-heavy 5e game based off of Law and Order. It's a police procedural. And the jury, that will be you in chat, get to decide if the person is found guilty or not. So every episode, they solve a crime, sort of, and they catch someone, sort of, but you, the audience, determine whether or not there's enough evidence to convict them, or if they get away with the crime, sort of, or get away with the crime.
Yeah, I was on an episode of that. It was fun.
I have not yet, but I'm hoping to somewhat soon. And we're going to try, keyword try, to start doing once a month playing Wrought Iron on Detention. That was supposed to happen this week, but it didn't happen. We just want to try to get Wrought Iron a little bit more consistent, so that we're going to take one Wednesday when we already get together, play that. It'll be live, but we'll also do an audio version. And then next Wednesday, we're going to do a special Gen Con episode of Detention. Chris Burlew and Mike from the Redemption podcast are going to join me, and we're just going to cover our Gen Con experiences. So it won't be the normal format. It'll just be a Gen Con recap, basically.
No, you guys are going to play
cool.
Where Have My Fingers Been? It'll be Gen Con centric.
It'll be Gen Con centric. Give me 10 things that happen at Gen Con. Okay, the episode's over. So thank you both for joining me. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining us there. So this has been Michael.
Matthew.
And Devon.
And we will see you next time.
Follow me on
Bye-bye.
Instagram.
So again, we got to do the awkward wave out. Get in front of the camera.
Where have my fingers been? Where have my fingers been?